Hi everyone, it's me, Andrea, going live with you today. I hope that you can hear me. Let me turn the volume up a little bit. How's that? Is that better? Okay, so before we start today, I wanted to talk just a little bit about me and my experience teaching English. Last time I did a Facebook Live. I forgot to tell you about me and my experience teaching English. So let's do that. We'll start with that. I started teaching English about 15 years ago. Whew, long time. And I started teaching when I was living in Barcelona. And I was teaching in a school in Barcelona, and I was teaching teenagers, and mostly. I also taught adults, but mostly teenagers. And I just absolutely loved it. I knew that I wanted to teach English, but I wanted to make it my career after having that experience teaching in Barcelona. So it was really great. And after that, after 5 years of teaching English in Barcelona, I moved to New York City. And I taught there for about 6 months in a school in New York City. And then I was promoted to the director of studies. So I was the director of studies for a school in New York for about 5 years. And then I moved to Miami, and I was the director of studies, or the academic director, for 2 different schools in Miami. And then I also worked as an instructor, an English teacher, at the University of Miami. So I've had a lot of experience teaching students from all over the world, all different levels. And I know that I really love it because I've had so many experiences in so many different places, doing so many different things. And I really enjoy the work that I do. I really enjoy helping international students improve their English so that they can improve their lives. So that's a little bit about me. I wanted to start today teaching you how to improve your reading, okay? And I'm going to teach you how to do 2 different strategies for reading. Both of them, when you practice them, right, both of them will improve the speed that you read at, so it will help you to read faster. And it will also help you to find information that you need, whether the information is just a general idea or the information that you need from a text is very specific. Okay? So first, let's take a look here. I'm using some new software, so I hope it's working correctly. So let's take a look here. Scanning and skimming. Okay, so these are the 2 different strategies that you can use in order to read faster and in order to find information that you need. Okay, scanning and skimming are the 2 strategies. So before we start, though, excuse me, I wanted to ask you what the difference is, or what you think the difference is between a strategy and a skill. Okay, so a strategy is a method. A strategy is a way that you do something, all right? And a skill is an ability. So if you think about it, a strategy would be a way that you would approach a problem or an issue of some kind. So strategy is good for problem solving. And it's the way that you try to solve the problem. So if you try one method or one strategy and it doesn't work, you can always try another. A skill, on the other hand, is an ability. So some people, for example, have the ability to dance really well. Some people have the ability to learn languages very easily. Some people are really good at math. It just depends. Everyone's different. But if you practice a skill, your ability to do it gets better and better. So that's the difference between a strategy and a skill. A strategy is a method, but a skill is an ability. And the idea behind skimming and scanning is that the strategy you use, whether it's skimming or scanning, the more you use that strategy, the sooner it will become a skill for you. So the idea is to make the strategy a skill that you get really good at, okay? That's the idea between the two different things. Because sometimes you see reading strategies, sometimes you see reading skills, they can kind of, sometimes you see them used intermittently, or you see people use both of them. But this is the difference, okay? Strategy is a method and skill is an ability. So we're going to talk first about the strategy of skimming, okay, when you're reading. So let's define what it is to skim. Okay, it's a verb. And a verb, I'm sure you all know, a verb is an action word, okay? So I want to impress upon you, or I want to make sure that you understand that skimming a text is an activity. It's an action, okay? Reading, the way that you might read in your own language, it might be more passive, but when you're learning a new language and you're trying to practice learning English in context especially, you need to be active. You have to be an active reader. You have to be an active listener, okay? It's really hard to learn a new language passively. You have to really be engaged. It's only when you're at a higher level that you can kind of do two things at once, listen to the radio and cook dinner. But this is an active way to read. So skimming means to go or move quickly and lightly over a surface or through the air. So that's the general definition of what it means to skim. To go or move quickly and lightly, so lightly is the opposite of heavy, over a surface or through the air. Okay, so the important words here is to move quickly. Okay, and so to give you guys a visual, I don't know if you've ever seen anyone practicing this sport, but this sport is called skim boarding, actually. And as you can see, the guy in the center, he is just passing or moving quickly over the surface of the water. Okay, just very lightly moving over the surface of the water. So that's what you want your eyes to do when you're reading. You want them to just very quickly go over the words on the paper, okay? Very quickly and very lightly. So it's as if your eyes are doing the same thing as the kid on the skim board, just very quickly going over the water, okay? Why do we use skimming when we read? Remember, it's a strategy, so it's a method. It's to solve a problem. So if you need to get information quickly, you skim a text. If you need the general idea of a text, you skim it, okay? Again, this is supposed to happen really fast. And I know that, move this over here. This is supposed to happen really fast. And I know that when you're learning a new language, you really want to understand everything. The way that you have the ability to understand everything or almost everything in your own language. But when you're first learning, or even when you're intermediate, high intermediate level, you kind of have to let that go. You kind of have to accept that you will not understand every single word all the time. So if you don't have a lot of time, you have to get used to the fact that you can only understand what you can understand. Okay? And this is actually a really good strategy when you're looking for the main idea of a text. Okay? Not details, but just the main idea. So if we go back to the presentation, you'll see that it says, we get information quickly and we get a general idea of a text when we skim. How do we skim? So we read fast, always. Okay? And again, let go of the idea, forget the idea that you're going to understand every single word. Okay? Understand what you understand. You want to look for introductions and conclusions. So skimming works really well for longer articles, maybe a newspaper or magazine article, or even if you're reading something for work, for business, or for school, if you go to university. Skimming is really good for longer texts. Not maybe like a short tweet or a Facebook post, but something that's longer. And generally longer texts have an introduction paragraph and a conclusion paragraph. So you want to look at those because they will kind of give you an idea, an overall, general, main idea of what the text is about. You also want to pay attention to topic sentences in the paragraphs. The topic sentences are usually the first sentence, not always, but usually they are the first sentence in a paragraph. But a topic sentence is the sentence in the paragraph that gives you the main idea of what the paragraph will be about. Everything else in that paragraph should be supporting information of that topic sentence. Okay? And the other thing that you want to do when you're skimming is that you want to focus on content words. And content words are important words that have meaning. They have more meaning than, for example, an article like the or a, or a preposition like of or to. They don't have a lot of meaning, but other words in a sentence or in a text will have more meaning. So you want to focus on the bigger content words that have more information in them. Okay? So again, to skim means to go or move quickly and lightly over a surface or through the air. Okay? So, skimming is useful when you want to survey a text quickly to get a general idea of what it's about. Okay? So you can see here that I specifically put these words in purple. Why did I put those words in purple? Because they are content words. Yes, exactly. If you guessed content words, then you're good. You're correct. Skimming is useful when you want to survey a text quickly and get a general idea of what it's about. Okay, so survey, text quickly, general idea. Those are the important content words in that sentence. Okay? When skimming, you ignore the details and look for the main ideas. Okay? So again, you ignore details, look for main ideas. Okay? The words again in purple, they give you, those are the content words. So they give you an idea of what the whole sentence is about. So the idea is that when you're skimming, these are the words that stand out to you. These are the words that you remember. The other words, you just kind of pass over them quickly. Okay? Because they don't have as much information as the words in purple. Okay? And the last sentence. Main ideas are usually found in the first sentences of each paragraph and in the first and last paragraphs. Okay? We just talked about this before. Usually found first sentences of each paragraph, that's the topic sentence, and in the first and last paragraphs. The first paragraph of a text is the introduction, and the last paragraph of a text is the conclusion. Okay, so this is just another way of saying topic sentences, introduction, and conclusion. Okay, so all of these content words are purple. So let's pull them out. Let's take the content words out of the text and see what we have. When we look just at the content words, for example, from the first paragraph, right, from the first paragraph, the content words are survey text quickly and get general idea. Okay? Those are the most important words in that piece of text. Survey text quickly and get general idea. Ignore details. Look for main ideas. Okay? And the last, usually found, first sentences each paragraph and first and last paragraphs. Okay? So by pulling these words out of the text, you get a general idea of what the text is about without having to take the time to read every single word. Yes, this is a difficult skill to practice. But if you practice, I swear, I promise, you will get better. The more you do it, the better you will get. And this is a really good skill, like I said before, if you need to read something, a longer text for work or for school. This is also a really great technique to use if you are preparing to take an exam like the IELTS or the TOEFL or the First Certificate or the Cambridge Advanced, because those are timed. So you have to move quickly, right? And so skimming like this is a really good way to move quickly through a text and only find the important information and not waste your time on things that are not so important, like the details. Okay? So that is how skimming works. The other strategy that we're going to talk about is scanning. Okay? We talked about skimming, now we're going to talk about scanning. Scanning is a little bit different from skimming. To define the word to scan, again, it's a verb, which means it's an action word. So if you're going to scan, you need to do it actively. You cannot do it passively. All right? To scan means to look quickly through a text or document in order to identify relevant information. Okay? To look quickly, again, you see the word quickly. Both of these strategies of skimming and scanning are meant to be done quickly. So to look quickly through a text or document in order to identify relevant information. So what's relevant information? Well, it's specific information, it's important information, and it's also probably the information that is on the question on the test, or a question that maybe you have about something that you're reading or have read, or your boss might have, or something that you need to know specifically for a class. Okay? So the relevant information can change. It depends on the question that you have. Okay? So scanning is like this, right? Before we saw skimming, the people at the beach, skim boarding. This is scanning. And so I'm sure if you've ever had a package delivered, you've seen this happen, or if you've ever taken a package to be sent somewhere, they always scan the barcode, right? And what does the scanner do? It only picks up, or it only sees the important information. And the important information, the relevant information here, are the black lines. Now, for us, or for you, when you do this, the relevant information will be something else. It won't be a black line for sure. Okay? We're going to talk about what relevant information might be. But you can kind of think of it, scanning, like this. Even though it's a different tool, it's not your eyes, it's actually a machine, it's the same concept. And the concept is that you only see what's important. So why do we scan? We scan when we want to find specific information quickly. There's that word again, quickly, okay? So when you need to find specific information in a text quickly, and when you're looking for details in a text, okay, this is when we scan. How do we scan? Again, read fast, yeah? Active reading. You have to read fast. And it's important to have a specific question in mind. So when you are scanning for something, you need to know exactly what you're looking for. So maybe it's a date, or maybe it's a name, or maybe it's a place, or maybe it's a number. Okay? Usually when you scan for something, it's a specific piece of information. And that's all you want to look for. You want to make sure that you know exactly what you're looking for, and that's the only thing that you look for in the text, okay? So you literally are like a scanner, reading through the text, only looking for that number, or that date, or that name, okay? So, again, to scan is to look quickly through a text or a document in order to identify relevant information. So scanning is useful when you want to find specific information in a text quickly. When scanning, you focus on the details and look for the specific piece of information you have in mind. Again, you want to make sure that you're clear on what that information is before you start looking for it. And you can also use titles in the text, photos in the text to help you find the information faster. And another thing is you don't want to be afraid to skip around. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when you need to find specific information and you don't have a lot of time to find that specific information, you might have to move around in the text. Remember, this works better for texts that are longer. So if you have to skip a paragraph or two in order to find what you're looking for, don't worry about it. I know that a lot of times when we read, again, we want to understand everything, right? And that isn't always the case. Sometimes you just don't have the time or the opportunity to read every single word. So don't be afraid to kind of jump around from paragraph to paragraph looking for what you need when you are scanning, okay? It's totally fine. The idea is to find the answer to your question. That's the main idea, okay? That's the objective, at least. So, if we go back to this. So the difference between skimming and scanning. Well, first let's talk about what they have in common. And what they have in common is that they are both fast, active reading. Okay? Fast, active reading. Not passive, not slow. But this is where you have to feel like when you do this, there's a clock ticking. Yeah? And you really have to find the information fast. So when you skim, again, you're looking for main ideas only, no details. Okay? And how do you find those main ideas? By looking for content words. Okay? When you scan, it's the opposite. You're looking only for details. And usually you're looking for specific details, like a name or a date or a number. Okay? Something very specific that you know you need to find. So that's what's similar about skimming and scanning, and also what's different about the two of them. So let's practice. Yeah. So if you have never read anything on Vice News, I suggest you check it out. It's a good web page for getting news It is more, I think I would have to say, it is more liberal, but it's a great place for news. So here we are on the Vice webpage, yeah, and we have a title here. Let's take a look at this title. First, let's look at this kind of slowly, all right? So we have an understanding of what's happening. So it says, woman banned from U.S. after border agent finds proof of drug use on phone. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So woman, we know what that is. Banned, let's come back to that. U.S., okay, so something happened to this woman from the U.S. after border agent. That's probably what these guys are, right? So that you can use the photograph to help you understand, right? A border agent. Oh, okay, so these guys are on the border of the U.S. Got it. So these guys find proof of drug use on phone. Oh, okay, so here's the phone. So using the words along with the two pictures, you can kind of understand that something happened to this woman when she was trying to come into the United States. These border agents found drug use on her cell phone. So banned probably means, if you think about it logically, banned probably means that she's not allowed to come into the U.S. If she's banned from the U.S., that means that she's probably not allowed to enter. All right? So it seems as if this woman has been told that she cannot enter the U.S. after one of these guys, these border agents, found information on her phone that says that she uses drugs or has used drugs. Okay. Well, we're not going to talk about whether that's right or wrong. We won't discuss the controversy behind that right now, although I would love to in another Facebook Live. But the story is that this woman was told she cannot enter the United States because border agents found information on her cell phone saying that she has used drugs. Okay. So, underneath these photographs is a title for the text, for the article. What I want you to do is I want you to read it really fast, okay? I'm going to let you see it for like 20 seconds, and I want you to read it fast. Let's see what we can find. Look only for content words, okay? So we're going to skim this. We're going to skim it and look just for content words, okay? It will be underneath the photographs. Ready? Okay. So what happened to this woman? Do you remember the content words? I remember cocaine. I remember another drug that starts with an F. Something about almost dying. Did you pick up any of those words? Let's take another look. It says, U.S. border officials, that's these guys, searched her phone, finding a story about how she almost died after ingesting fentanyl she thought was cocaine. Okay, so let's look and see what words we think in this title are content words. I would have to say U.S. border officials searched would be one. Phone, right, because you need to know what they searched. Border officials searched phone. Found or finding story. I would say almost died. Yeah. Ingesting. Ingesting means eating or drinking. Ingesting this drug Okay? So those words are the words that have the content, that have the real meaning. Yeah? The other words like her, after, maybe, was, these are not important content words. The important content words should be border official, searched phone, found story, almost died, ingesting fentanyl. Okay, those are the important words. So let's find out what happened. Underneath, you'll see that there are 2 more paragraphs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you read those 2 paragraphs. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to skim those 2 paragraphs for the content words, okay? For the important information, the main idea. Again, only focus on what you understand. If you take time to try and understand something that's a new word, you're going to lose your time, okay? Focus on what you do understand in order to construct the main idea. Okay, so this first time, it's just going to be skimming, okay? Just skimming. And I'll give you, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, okay? So skim these 2 paragraphs for content words that have main idea. Okay, so what content words do you remember? I remember fentanyl. I remember border patrol officer. I remember search phone. I remember 2 hours. I remember email to doctor. What else? Lifetime ban. Remember we talked about ban meaning not allowed, not accepted. So a lifetime ban. I think that's it. So let's take a look a little bit closer at this. A British Columbia woman was issued a lifetime ban at the U.S. border. We already knew that. After officials found an email with her doctor about fentanyl overdose she survived a year ago. An overdose is when someone takes too much of a drug and they die or they come close to dying. So it says, Chelsea, 28, whose last name is being withheld due to fear that it could affect future employment, answered a series of questions about drug use while attempting to cross the Washington, British Columbia border. So she was trying to come into the United States from Canada. Okay? Because British Columbia, that's Vancouver area. She said her phone didn't have a password and it was searched for about 2 hours. Okay? During questioning after her phone was searched, she admitted to using illegal drugs. Okay? So that gives you an idea of how to pull out content words from a text. Okay? So that you're not wasting your time thinking about words that you don't really understand, or you really just want to get the main idea of what this is about. And we have a good idea that What happened to this woman was that she was trying to enter the United States, and the Border Patrol took her phone, and they spent 2 hours looking in her phone. And they found an email from between her and her doctor, which is terrible that they read that, but they found an email between her and her doctor from a year ago saying that she accidentally took this drug. It was on accident, okay, that she almost died. So that's the main idea. Now I'm going to ask you to scan this and look for 3 important pieces of information. One is, what is this woman's name? Second is, how old is she? And third is, where was she trying to cross? What is the name of the place where she was trying to cross into the United States? Okay? This time I'm not going to give you so much time because you know exactly what you're looking for. You know that you're looking for her name, you know that you're looking for her age, and you know that you're looking for where she tried to cross into the United States. And you have already read this once. You've skimmed it. So you should have kind of an idea of where this information can be found. So you don't need as much time. Remember, you're only looking for those 3 things. Okay? So let's go. Okay, so you should be able to say that the woman's name is Chelsea. She's 28 years old, and she was trying to cross at the Washington, British Columbia border. That's Washington State, Seattle, Washington State, and British Columbia. British Columbia is Canada. Okay, so here we have Chelsea. That's her name. 28 is her age. And here you can see it says attempting to cross, Washington, British Columbia border. Okay, so that's how you can scan to find specific information. Now this text, this article goes on to explain what happened to this woman. See, this is a much longer text. Yeah, okay. It goes on to explain what happened to this woman, and it also has a video in here suggesting how to protect your phone privacy when crossing to the U.S. border. So if you're interested in watching that, you can. Okay, but there's a lot more in here. If you want to practice, you can use this whole article to practice skimming and scanning. Okay, there's a lot of information in here. I always try to give students more realistic content, just because I think it's more helpful, because this is how we really talk, this is how we really read, this is how we really write. Yeah, I know. I prefer to give information that's actual real content. Okay, so the link is here. I'm going to put this PDF, I'm going to put this PowerPoint presentation as a PDF on my webpage and also in my English Everywhere community group on Facebook so that you can have access to it. So if you would like to join the English Everywhere community group, just request it and you will find this document in there, and it will also be on the englisheverywhere.org webpage. Okay, so again, we talked today about scanning and skimming and how they are both strategies or methods to approach reading. Okay, and again, the more that you practice them, the more that you get used to only reading something for the main idea quickly, or only reading something for specific detail quickly. The more you get used to that, the better you will get. the more you practice it, the more comfortable it will feel. And the more comfortable it feels, the more confident you will be. Guaranteed. I promise. I've seen it in students so many times. The more you practice, the more confident you get. I promise. So, and again, EnglishEverywhere.org, you can find free lessons there. If you're interested in practicing more reading, on the English Everywhere webpage, there is a free reading course demo. There are also free lessons. If you register, you can try free lessons online, reading and listening. If you have any questions at all, you can contact me. I'm Andrea at EnglishEverywhere.org. And again, you can also find this presentation and this video on the English Everywhere community Facebook page. It's a group. And I think that's it. Also, I will have, let me turn this off here. I also wanted to let you know that starting in September, I'm going to be doing classes online for conversation, B1, low intermediate level, and B2, high intermediate level, to practice speaking. And we'll be doing exercises like this, activities like this, also grammar, pronunciation, all that fun stuff. I'm also going to be doing Stranger Things classes starting in September. Yay! Because a new season of Stranger Things is coming out in October. And again, there's an online reading course that if you're interested in improving your reading skills, there are lots more to practice. Those will be more Facebook Live lessons to come. But if you're interested in improving your reading skills for school or for work or just for yourself, you can try the demo lesson on the webpage and see if you like it. And if you have any questions at all, you can always contact me on Facebook or email me. I'm here. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to help you. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I can see if anybody has any questions. Okay, so that's it for scanning and skimming. Again, the more you practice, the better that you will get, I promise. So enjoy and have a great rest of your day, wherever you are, or a great new day, if it's morning for you, and I will see you soon.